The restaurant shimmered like a jewel box in the heart of the city. Golden chandeliers glowed against the tall windows, each one reflecting 1,000 fragments of light over polished marble floors. Soft jazz floated through the air, mixing with quiet laughter and the gentle clinking of silverware. Every table was full, every one but one. At that lonely table near the window sat Alexander Crowe, a man whose name alone could make investors tremble and journalists chase shadows. Tonight, however, there was no boardroom, no deal, only a half-empty glass of wine in the hollow space across from him. He checked his watch for the third time. 8 o'clock sharp. Punctuality was a habit he could never break. The woman he was supposed to meet, a perfect social match, daughter of a powerful business ally, had cancelled with a text message his assistant showed him minutes earlier. Something came up. He didn't care. It was always the same with these dates. Polite conversation, rehearsed smiles, shallow intentions. To everyone else, Alexander was a prize, a cold, unreachable man wrapped in power. To himself, he was simply tired. He leaned back, tracing the rim of his wine glass, watching the candlelight flicker and stretch across the tablecloth. The city lights glittered beyond the window, but even they seemed distant. He was preparing to stand, to leave the untouched dinner behind, when a small, breathless voice cut through his thoughts. "Oh, I'm so sorry I'm late." He looked up. A girl stood there. No evening gown, no pearls. Just a beige coat that had seen better winters, hair pinned back in a messy knot, and eyes full of apology and warmth. She carried a small purse that she clutched as if it were her anchor. Before he could speak, she slid into the chair opposite him, cheeks flushed pink from the cold. "The traffic was terrible," she said, trying to smile. "I hope you didn't wait long, Mr. Adrian." Alexander blinked. Mr. Adrian. He could have corrected her right then. Could have told her she had the wrong table, that he wasn't whoever she was looking for. But something, maybe curiosity, maybe loneliness, made him stop. His lips curved slightly. "Not at all," he said quietly, leaning back. "You're right on time." And for the first time that night, Alexander Crowe didn't feel alone. Lena Morris tried not to stare at the velvet curtains or the golden plates, but everything in that restaurant screamed too expensive. The flickering candles made everything look softer, warmer, except the pit in her stomach that whispered she didn't belong there. She had never been inside a place like this. Usually, her dinners were takeout noodles between shifts at the flower shop. Her best dress was the same one she wore to job interviews, and her coat, a pale beige thing, had a missing button near the sleeve. Still, she sat up straight and smiled, pretending this was normal. Across from her, the man she believed to be, Mr. Adrian, was silent, studying her with eyes so sharp she felt he could see straight through her. Yet something in his gaze wasn't cruel, it was curious. "So," she said nervously, breaking the silence, "I know my profile probably didn't say much. I'm not really good at those things." He raised an eyebrow. "Tell me, then, what should it have said?" That question melted her tension. She laughed, soft and awkward. "Well, I work at a little flower shop near the station. It's not fancy, but I love it. Flowers listen better than most people, you know." He said nothing, but his eyes followed the way she talked, how her hands moved, how her whole face lit up when she mentioned something she loved. She spoke about mornings smelling of roses and coffee, about regular customers who came just to chat. Then she blushed. "I must sound silly. You're probably used to people who talk about stock markets, not sunflowers." Alexander, still pretending to be Adrian, tilted his head. "I prefer sunflowers," he said simply. Her smile widened. "Really?" "Yes. They follow the light," he murmured. "Even when it's not there." The words hung between them like a secret only they could hear. When the waiter brought the bill, Lena froze. Her eyes darted to the elegant card tray, to the numbers printed there. Her fingers trembled as she reached for her purse. "Oh no, this can't be right." He stopped her hand gently. "It's fine. But, dinner's on me," he said quietly, his tone leaving no room for argument. She hesitated, then smiled in relief. "Thank you, Mr. Adrian. I'll get the next one." He almost smiled. "I'll hold you to that." As she laughed softly, Alexander realized, this wasn't a mistake anymore. It was the most genuine evening he'd had in years. 3 days later, Lena walked into the grand marble lobby of Crow Enterprises, her arms full of bouquets wrapped in soft paper. The scent of roses and lilies filled the air as she tried not to stare at the enormous chandelier above her. It was her first time delivering flowers to this building. Her boss said the company had ordered an arrangement for an upcoming corporate gala. She had no idea the address would lead her straight to him. "Delivery for Mr. Crow's office," she told the receptionist, trying to steady her voice. "Take the elevator to the 32nd floor," the woman replied with a polite smile. As the elevator doors slid open, Lena stepped into a world of glass and steel. Every inch of the top floor gleamed, cold, perfect, intimidating. Assistants moved quickly between offices, all in tailored suits, all speaking in low, efficient tones. When she entered the executive office, she froze. There he was, standing by the window, hands in his pockets, city skyline behind him. The man she'd had dinner with. Her heart stopped. "You," she whispered, almost dropping the flowers. "You're not Adrian." Alexander turned, calm as ever, though something flickered in his eyes. "Regret, maybe." "No," he said finally. "I'm Alexander Crow." She blinked, confused. "The Alexander Crow, as in, this building." He nodded slightly. "I wasn't supposed to meet you that night. My blind date cancelled. You sat at my table by mistake." Silence filled the room, thick and heavy. Her voice cracked when she finally spoke. "So, all that time, you just let me believe." "Yes," he interrupted softly. "Because for the first time in years, someone saw me as a man, not a company name. You spoke to me like I was human." Lena took a step back. "That's not fair," she said, her throat tight. "You lied." "I didn't mean to," he said quietly. "I just didn't want it to end." She looked down at the flowers trembling in her hands, then set them on his desk. "Here's your order, Mr. Crow." The title cut like glass between them. Before she left, he reached out and plucked a single white rose from the bouquet. "For the woman who sat at the wrong table," he said gently, and somehow made it the right one. But she didn't look back. Not this time. Lena tried to forget him. She buried herself in work, trimming roses, arranging tulips, wrapping bouquets until her fingers ached. But every time she touched a white rose, she saw his face again, calm, unreadable, and so heartbreakingly sincere. Weeks passed. Winter deepened. The city grew colder, and so did she. The memory of that dinner, his soft voice, his unexpected kindness, lingered like perfume that refused to fade. Then one morning, as she unlocked the shop, a familiar car stopped outside. A sleek black sedan that didn't belong on her narrow, cracked street. The door opened, and there he was, Alexander Crow, the man she had promised herself never to see again. He stepped inside, hands in his pockets, his expression unsure for the first time. "Morning," he said quietly. "Do you sell flowers to people who make mistakes?" Lena's heart skipped, but she didn't let it show. "Depends on how big the mistake is." He smiled faintly. "Huge." He bought a single daisy, paid in cash, and left. The next day, he came again. This time, a lily. Then a tulip. Then a carnation. Every day, one flower. Always different. Always with a reason. One for courage, he'd say one morning. One for forgiveness, the next. Sometimes, he didn't speak at all. Just smiled, paid, and left her standing among the petals, wondering why her heart hurt and healed all at once. Then one snowy evening, just before closing time, he returned. In his hand was a single red rose, wrapped in gold ribbon. He placed it gently on the counter. Lena stared at it. "And this one?" she asked softly, afraid of the answer. He met her eyes. No arrogance, no distance, just quiet honesty. "This one's for love." The world seemed to still. The ticking clock, the street noise, the falling snow, all faded. Only his voice remained. "I know I don't deserve another chance," he said, stepping closer. "But when you walked into my life, everything I thought I knew about love changed. You taught me what it means to feel." Tears blurred her vision. She looked down at the rose, then back up at him. "Then don't waste it," she whispered. That night, she sat across from him once more. Same table, same candle, but everything was different. No pretense. No mistake. Just two people who had finally found where they belonged. And for Alexander Crow, the richest man in the city, love had never felt so beautifully simple.